Social skills will take you a lot further in life than what you'll learn in the classroom. Anything that has, any sense of people skills at all, you learn just as much from being social. Once again, like I would accredit a lot of my success. I'm not really the smartest person in the room. I'm not really even that good at any one particular thing. I just think I'm really good at like talking to people and making friends. That's like always been my number one priority. And even in my own business, like most of the stuff that's done on a really expert level is done by other people. And I just brought them on because they're better than me. And I think that's what a real leader does, is like knows what they suck at and brings other people in. And
No, I completely agree with you. And I'd actually even like to combat your comment about the scientists or whatever. So I'm a software engineer, right? Like that's the probably most stereotypically socially awkward field that anyone can go into. And I made a video and I very recently got promoted, and literally cited in the reason why I was promoted is it's like, we don't know if you have the technical chops yet, but your ability to communicate and basically excise and create more impact just based on the way that you can actually communicate with people is that of the higher level. And that's the reason why we're doing it, with the understanding that you can catch up with your technical chops. I was a good guy in school and everything. But I then go into the playing field where everyone is 10 times smarter than I am even. And the only thing that sets me apart really is my ability to communicate, which is very easy to do in that field, obviously. But no, I think that it's literally arguably the most valuable skill you can have, bar none. I don't care how smart you are. I don't care how skilled you are. If you can talk and get people to want to do what you want to do as well, game over.
The guy who bought the house that I'm living in, he's like 25, extremely successful. He's got this incredibly high up position at Meta right now. And most of the people that work for him under him are like 30, but they're mega nerds. Like they're extremely smart, but they have zero communication skills. And he's extremely smart as well. He had full ride to Princeton and everything, but he's very, very socially adept. And so, yeah, 100% agree with you there. If you are someone that has that intelligence level, like the IQ, but you also have the EQ, I think that is like the perfect combination for success.
100% agree. And I think that's something that social media and everything, so many kids are just, and this is like a trope that's overplayed, but it's so true, just glued to their phone. And if you're just watching TikTok 8-10 hours a day and you're not actually going out and talking to people, then how the hell do you expect it? It's not, you can't watch videos about charisma to become charismatic. Like that's not really how it works. You might be able to get the tools and then go apply them in practice, but you have to eat shit like 100 times before you actually be like, okay, that's what I'm doing wrong.
It's funny because I actually watched those videos when I was that struggling kid. I didn't know how to talk to people, or like, you can be next to Tom Brady is what I always say. And he can tell you and show you how to throw the football a million times, but until you actually throw it yourself and hold it in your hand, like you're not going to get better.
Absolutely. Dude, I watched the same videos, like charisma on command or whatever it was.
Yes,
And
I
I'm
think that
trying
was
to,
it. I think that was it. Yeah.
yeah, I did the same thing. And that actually leads pretty nicely into the next topic, which I want to talk about going out and enjoying either some brews with the boys or having a night out. Cause I know that you recently said that you cut back alcohol a little bit, which I've actually done the same. Definitely don't drink at the same cadence as I did in college. But it's still occasionally, it's nice to go out with the boys. And I'm wondering how you think about finding a balance, because there are so many people who will say that essentially that it is the antithesis to productivity, and engaging in it at all is basically shooting yourself in the foot.
Well, I think going out is really important, actually. I know for a fact that a majority of my opportunity that I've been handed in my life has not come from me being like extremely capable in a specific field. It's come from like someone liking me. And I tend to look at success as like the exact opposite of self-made or like a lonely path. I look at it as you need a lot of help from a lot of people to succeed. And if you're lucky enough to have that happen for you, it's going to be like the greatest adventure, because you get to, not only is it a lot harder to climb the mountain, like physically, if you look at like climbing Everest or whatever, it's a lot harder to climb it by yourself as a lone wolf than it is with a group of people. And it's more fun and it's more fulfilling when you get to the top and you're with all these great people that helped each other. And you just simply won't have that opportunity if you're like either weird or you piss people off or you make people uncomfortable. And so I think going out is extremely important, and like being able to meet someone and immediately become friends with them. Like I got invited to this founders event on Tuesday night. It's Friday today. So 3 days ago, this guy, I met him at a bar. He's like, yo, you're dope. I'm doing this founders event. You said you have a business, right? I said, yeah. He's like, there's going to be 100 different company founders there. You should come. And I went and I didn't drink or anything, but I just like talked with a ton of random people and I made like three really good connections. And nothing might come out of it or something great might come out of it. Who knows? But I think going out and being really social and doing stuff like that, whether it is a professional event like that or even going to a bar, which is where I originally met the first person, can be very helpful in furthering you opportunity wise and character development wise. The problem is like a lot of people don't know how to go out and not get fucking hammered. And I think that is counterproductive. And I'm saying that as someone who went out 3 or 4 times a week in college, went to like U of A, one of the biggest party schools in the country.
Bear
Uh,
down.
yeah, and I was tired of like waking up feeling like dog shit and all that. So I still go out quite a bit. I'll probably go out tonight and tomorrow. I just won't drink that much. And it's obviously a lot easier to do that when the people you're around aren't pressuring you and are pretty balanced themselves, though.
I think that's great. I think that you're absolutely right. I think your take on success is beautiful. I think that a lot of people do think that essentially they have to put their head down in a vacuum for 10 years and that's how they're going to be successful. When I think that that's the version of shooting yourself in the foot, because you are essentially saying, oh, whether it is, let's just not say going out to like a bar, but going out in general, socializing, going to events, that's where you will find the people that you just mentioned that are going to catapult you. And you are making it so much more difficult on yourself if you think that you have to sit in front of a computer screen for 10 hours a day for 10 years. I think you're just making it way harder on yourself.
Dude, it's wild because there's so many like motivational videos out there that all they preach is like put your head down and don't talk about what you're doing and no one wants to hear what's going on. And I think that's like a outdated method to success. I think the best way to succeed in today's day and age is by finding a lot of similar people that can do things that you can't. And then you split the success, right? Like no longer do you have to go at it solo. And my saying is like, and you hear a lot of people talk about this, but it's a lot better to have like a slice of a watermelon than like the whole grape to yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's a lot easier to succeed, both in terms of like dependability and people relying on you, and in terms of like other skill sets provided when you're teaming up with people. And you're not going to be able to team up with people if you don't know how to meet and talk to people.
Yeah. And you've talked about this before, and this is a bit of an extreme example, but that's why having a platform I think can be so valuable in 2023 is because that instant social credibility of me reaching out to you and saying, hey, be on my podcast is if I had 2 followers, and this is no fault to you, you wouldn't even see my message or you wouldn't respond.
Yeah.
Right. And so the ability to cultivate that. And now this is actually something I've been putting a lot of effort in recently because I was someone who kind of performed in a vacuum in the social media space for the first 6 months I was doing it. I'm now making an effort to connect with people because I know that that's how I'm actually going to take this to the next level. And so I think that, yeah, the people who do kind of go completely lone wolf style are going to make it a lot harder on themselves or just not make it at all.
Dude, I think I grew up with my parents saying, don't go on social media. Be careful what you post. Be careful what you say because you're going to put yourself at risk. And I do agree. You do make yourself a target when you stand up on a chair in a room full of people. Like everyone's going to look at you and people will throw stuff at you. But you're also going to obviously naturally catch the attention of some other people who might be also interested in that and be like, wait, that's cool. He's willing to stand up there. And yeah, I mean, I would accredit like most of my success right now to clicking that record button. And I think everyone who wants to be an entrepreneur should hit the record button. And you don't need to have hundreds of thousands of followers or a big platform. You might just have 2,600 followers after a year of posting, but every one of your followers loves your content and you can just as easily like network and make great opportunities and connections from a small platform as you can a big one. Just depends on like, are you putting out good content and connecting with the right people in my mind.
Yeah, something that I've found is interesting is, and I want to pivot this into the next topic in a second, but it's very related. Is essentially that I've had some people in my network who are very powerful in whatever their space is, industry barons or politically, academically, whatever it is, who now want to either like come on this podcast or want to get tips on how to grow their audience. And these are people who, again, are so well known in their spaces, but the social media, this is a unique thing to be able to cultivate this type of audience, and the attention is so valuable, and they know that essentially even people who are far and away know way more than I do in whatever it is, they want the secret sauce to what we're doing right now.
Oh yeah, that's great, dude. And that can be something that can be monetized very effectively. Also, I don't know what your plan is with like, what's the best way to utilize what you have going, but like I just started I'm one of four guys that started a marketing agency on the side, and it's kind of doing something similar to that. It's like, reaching out to both brands and individuals and saying like, you guys could have such a bigger impact if you were on social media the right way. And so it's like selling our, like you said, sauce to them or whatever, in like a instructional way. But yeah, just something to think about. I don't know what your whole plan with this is, but you might be doing that already.
That's something I'm still working on, man. No, that's something I'm still working on. I've got my day job I'm working alongside, and because I make enough money from that, I honestly have a little bit of complacency in my bones right now, which is really not what I want to have. I definitely want to keep scaling this, and I don't want to work a traditional 9 to 5 forever. So at some point, I'll make my exit. I don't know how or when that'll be, but I'm always thinking. The last thing that I want to talk about here, because we've already been alluding to it, is I think that we both have a skill, and this might have just come from the confidence that we've developed to essentially cultivate a really powerful network and people who are, very valuable, ideally mutually beneficial, but people that you could call on that people would be like, how the hell do you have their phone number? And so I'm wondering if you have any tips on, I have my own sort of ideas on how I was able to do that, but I'm wondering if you have any tips on how you were able to build that.
That's a great question. I think so many, and this kind of ties into what you were saying earlier, so many people worry about, what do I say? Like, I get questions all the time. How do I network better? What should I say? Like people think, like, for example, let me give you an example. Like it was supposed to be yesterday, but it got moved to, I think, look at my calendar, Tuesday morning. I'm doing a podcast with Joe DeSana. Do you know who that is?
The name sounds familiar, but not off the top of my head.
He's the CEO and founder of Spartan, which is like the biggest, by person, I'm pretty sure, biggest race company in the world. They're worth hundreds of millions of dollars. I think they bring in like 170 million a year in revenue, like massive company. And I didn't get his phone number by like having a really creative and sneaky email template. You know what I mean? It was just because like he thought he came across me and sent my content in his family group chat to his kids and was like, I like this guy. And then through a connection, like got a hold of me and we started talking, and I'm working on a project for them right now. But it's not, and I'm not saying that to flex. I'm saying that because like I think a lot of people think like, how do I network better based on what I say? What should I write in my email? What should my message be on LinkedIn to this guy? How do I get his attention? I think the best way to get someone's attention is to be the kind of person that they want to meet already. So focus less on like, what do I say in this DM, and more on like, how do I actually become someone that not I believe could do something for this person, but how do I become someone who could actually provide some value in their eyes to that person? You know what I mean? And I don't know if you get DMs like this, but I get DMs all the time like, hey man, I'd love to work for you for free. I'd love to hop on a phone call and talk to you about business for 30 minutes. And I'm just like, no, like, because what is that? All that does is take away my time. I would actually rather pay someone like this genius kid I just brought on. I'm just paying him $4,000, $2,000 a month to like go and find me potential new opportunities. And that's because I've seen what he can do Whereas like someone might be willing to work for free, but I have to tell them what to do, and they actually don't provide any value whatsoever except for taking up time and needing instruction, you know? So to sum that up, become the person that people want to meet as opposed to figuring out how to say the right things to the right people.
No, I think that you're absolutely right in order to even have that conversation. But I think that there is some truth into having the conversation the right way. And so many people will, when they meet someone who they believe to be above them, will talk in a way that's just, it's not, it doesn't come off as mutually beneficial, because it's like you feel like they feel like they're doing you a favor just by giving you the time, giving you the air. And so you need to speak like they're a human being. They might be a very accomplished human being, a very successful human being, but at the end of the day, you're having the conversation because they want to hear something from you. You want to hear something from them, and talk to them how you would talk to a friend. Hopefully not, you did a video about like code switching or the way to speak to certain people, which I think is absolutely true. But the point being, don't grovel at their feet. I see this so many times where a dude will come into a bar and he's, even plays for like the college football team, and guys will talk to him like he's, the coolest dude they've ever met, and he doesn't even know why they'd share the same earth, right? That's a terrible way to get someone to want to continue working with you in the future.
Yeah. Even if you do have I absolutely agree. Even if you do have a lot of value to provide, you're shooting yourself in the foot. And I think like a good example of that for anyone watching could be like, let's say I was the one that reached out to this Joe guy. An incorrect way of doing it would be like, hey Joe, like you're one of the people I respect most. Like I'd love to hop on the phone with you for 15 minutes and discuss like a potential strategy for increasing your awareness for your brand. That's not the strongest in my opinion. What I would do is, if I had to DM him, would probably be like, yo Joe, like talking to him like he's a friend. Yo Joe, love the brand. However, I think you guys need some work on your marketing to Gen Z. Let me know when you're free. Let's cook up a strategy. Something like that, right? And so I fully agree. Like you do have to structure your introduction message in a certain way, whether it's in person or over a DM, whatever. But at the end of the day, you also have to be a person that actually can do something. I think you shouldn't approach someone until you feel like you can actually provide value.
That's a great point. Yeah. Don't go saying I'm going to become the person who you want to work with. Be the person they want to work with.